selling some. He spent over $50 sitting there talking to me, tasting it, and says, "Oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. Oh, I want that." And he says, "How much are you here?" I said, $45. He goes, "Oh my God." So I need to get going. He said, "I'm gonna spend all my check over here on honey."
Mm-hmm. So here's my number if you need some more. No, but it's pretty cool all the things you can do with that honey.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of it, it's actually something that's good for you that you eat versus a processed mess.
Yeah, the
That you get
processed
rid of.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. You think about the other stuff too from the hive too. Is like there's so many things in the hive we use or can make products out of. You like you're making those little cakes you make. The swarm cakes. Uh, you got the
Yeah.
wax. You got the propolis. Well, you can use propolis to make a tincture for a spray for your throat, um, or just take a little bit here and there for your health. I mean,
Yeah.
you can make lip balms, soaps, uh,
Lotion.
chapsticks,
Yeah.
lotions, yeah, all kind of stuff with the wax.
Candles.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You
much.
take 1 pound, one pound of wax is $10. Put a wick in it, it's 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm. Which then, like, say somebody on my end that has respiratory issues, burning that natural beeswax is way better than burning off that. I guess all of it's made out of that paraffin. What candles are made out of now.
yeah. The paraffin is actually a petroleum byproduct.
But
So
much better for you all around, especially if you use like a. Am I right? Like a hemp for a wick.
yeah, hemp wick. Yeah, Jeremy says it takes an absurd amount of comb to make a pound of wax, and it's true, it does. So just throw a wick in it and double the value on it.
Yeah.
So
Well, another note as well, which we do this even with the, which I understand some of the big sideliners and commercial folks, it'd be kind of a pain in the butt unless you just had somebody for this job. But I mean, if it's a okay, decent piece of wax, buddy, that goes in a bucket. And you'd be surprised how quick you can build up throwing that burr comb in a bucket, or what they drew out for bridge comb, anything like that. Especially this time of the year when they really fix and go to drawing, and you're trying to keep that box clean for the most part. Man, throw every bit of that in a bucket. Wait till the end of the season, and you'll be surprised. You never know. You might have your 5 gallon bucket full of that mess.
yeah,
To kind of,
today I was scraping burr comb today, but on two of those hives, they are already putting honey in that burr comb, so I had to leave it out for them to eat the honey out of it before I picked it up. You know, because they make it makes a mess when you do that. You have to clean it out. It's got when it's got brood or honey in it usually. So I mean, you got to contend with that.
or if you got like earlier this morning, whenever our intentions were to get down there and check on the bees, I've got a little old 3 framer we had built, I don't know, a couple years back. Well, we had a few frames from last year that had a little bit of honey on there, but it wasn't even worth the time to even drag and everything out to make an attempt to extract it. So we had just put it up and stored it, and it made it through the season. But I went down there this morning, popped the lid on that little 3-framer because we using it for, I don't know if we do another split or a swarm decides to come in, what have you. But that little bit of honey that's left in there, that's capped, there was a good little handful of bees in there robbing that honey out. And I'm thinking, you lazy little jokers. There's privet all up and down the highway, and your sisters are bringing it in by the truckloads, and y'all are flying 15 feet, robbing out this bunch, then going back to the colony like y'all done something.
Lisa was asking how long did you? I don't know how long the privet bloom is.
Weeks at least.
Yeah, I think we can get a good 2.5 weeks out of it.
3 weeks. A little while.
Because I don't know about, I don't know if y'all paid attention. But we've been noticing it's been like in stages. You'll see one area of it, and I mean this is just right here around the house too. Even with the one actual privet at the house, you'll have one that's bloomed out. You'll have one that's got the little, I guess, flowers fixing to bloom out that hasn't even opened up yet.
Little bud.
Yeah, the buds. There we go. Then you've got a couple bushes that you can start to see them turning the buds out. So we kind of got this little, I guess, continuance for a couple, 3 weeks on end. And oftentimes that's where we got to watch to make sure we don't go to getting honey bound.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying I think I'm gonna have to pull honey off of the hives from that they've already put in there. Because if I don't, they're gonna get bound up, and I'm gonna have more swarms. I don't want to end up having, depletion of bees because of swarming, lack of room.
Yeah.
That's one of the blessings I'm grateful for down here on the beekeeping end, because like the folks in the North Country, they have one run pretty much, and that's it. We'll start seeing them bringing in and backfilling. Now it'll be a little bit, but early March around here for us, you'll start seeing them backfilling and bringing in. Then by the time the privet turns on, we'll get that good heavy flow out of it. And that, I mean, it's not only the privet, it's everything else blooming around here, the blackberry and all that stuff that they're pulling off of. But we can probably, we've said this a dozen times, but we could probably pull 2 for sure. And I'm going to say without no problem, a 3rd time by the time, the tallow flow runs out. And still they could have enough to go ahead and, backfill, cap off whatever they need before dearth sets in. Then we kind of really have to watch it right after dearth going into our goldenrod season, because
what the heck happened?
Our goldenrod ain't worth a hoot around here. Look.
What are you doing here?
Pushing buttons.
I hit the wrong button.
There you go. I don't like being that close.
Now I brought it out. I was trying to answer Lisa saying, well, she's talking about pulling off after privet. And that's my plan this year. Pull out off like I did it last year, because I don't like mixing all the flavors up. I want individual flavors like a wine, They
Mhm.
when they harvest grapes, they harvest them different times of the year for the flavors
Yeah.
and the sugar consistency. So if I pull off, I have a certain flavor in the spring. Then you pull off a tallow, and maybe towards the end of the year, you might get another one where you'll have, you know, your goldenrod or whatever else happens to be out, like a winter rye or something that someone planted in the field, you know,
Mhm.
which gives it three different distinct flavors, and then you work off of those three flavors, flavor palettes for all your stuff you do. What are you going to infuse? What are you going to not infuse? What are you going to make creamed? What are you going to
Yeah.
leave regular runny honey? You know,
All those decisions.
yeah. And the thing is I've come across, and I did think about a lot of it way before um, I actually even had the bees.
Mhm.
And it wasn't till it didn't really set in concrete in my mind until because I was wondering, well, what kind of flavors you get at the different times of year. I thought that I said, well, if you treat it like a wine, or harvesting grapes, you
Mhm.
pull that flavor and you work with that flavor, and what variations of that flavor can you make work?
Yeah.
You know, so which gives you multiple products for one thing. Um, so I was thinking about that, and then when I actually got the first pull done, and it tasted like orange. It's really
Yeah.
sweet and orangey, with an orange aftertaste. I'm like, well, I call that my satsuma because I don't have oranges here. Satsumas around, and
Mhm.
uh, then then you have the tallow. I've helped. I don't know if Bruce is still in here now. I've helped Bruce pull honey, and it seems like he pulls all of his honey and blends all of his honey together, and it's
Mhm.
fine. It tastes like honey, and it's good.
Yeah.
Um, but when I started tasting the different flavors, I'm like, I got to do this differently because to set myself out from the other people what they're doing around, at least around here anyway. And I don't mind sharing it because there's no corner in the market. Just what you do with what you've got.
Well, it's good too if you got a little variety. You can tell folks, say, okay, look, this got more of a citrus flavor to it, or if you could get a good enough run on the blackberry, then kind of mosey on into the privet and everything else. Because some people like that little bit of a distinct flavoring in it. I mean, you hear folks how they like the lighter honeys and the dark honeys, and yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is you never know how somebody else's taste buds is going to react
Yeah.
to that flavor.
But that could also just be another, like a really strong selling point if you have that unique kind of
Well,
flavor that a lot of other ones don't.
and you couple with it. Someone let somebody taste it too. If they like
Yeah.
it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. They don't have to get it. There's something else they could try on the table. You know that's why I'm saying you do make the variations so that because if you had that's all you had and they tasted it and they don't like it, they're not going to buy anything because that's all you've got.
Yeah.
So what you do is you have multiple options there that they can taste and decide which one they like, and then that
Mhm.
you at least leave with a sale. So you're not wasting your time talking to these people, or explaining things. And Jeremy's got a point too. He said, having the more hives you get is probably more difficult. I sort of see that,
Mhm.
you know, because you have to really keep up on it after you get, once you get past a certain point. That's why I was saying 20 hives right now to see how I go with 20
Yeah.
hives before I go and push it further.
Oh yeah,
You know,
if you were showing up sideline or a commercial individual, absolutely time and all that. It's going to be much better just to dump it in a barrel and move on to the next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and I believe that's why Bruce does it that way. He's got several yards. You know, he's got I think almost 200 hives. So I mean, I understand that point. You know, and now if he was probably a little bit bigger, and he had people working for him, he'd probably get each yard to pull at a certain time. You know, and probably increase the amount of honey he gets.
Yeah.
But you know, he doesn't have that option. He's just sidelining with a lot of hives.
Yeah, that is a lot of hives to be inside.
Yeah,
That the only way we could manage outside yards is if we just went full-time
Full-time.
beekeeping. In our time right now, there's no way between our work schedule to taking
We just wouldn't have
No.
the time to manage out yards. But after talking on Ricky's chat the other night, I kind of was rolling it around in my head and how I was telling them that our business fits us because we can kind of rotate things. I was like, well, that would be a really good way for us to do the bees and it not turn into a job. Have 4 or 5 out yards, and you got to change the pace and a different scenery. You can mix it up.
Okay, I mean, with us, and we kind of go back on the working for yourself portion that, you know, we go and do a job, but there's more entailed to doing that. We have to go look at the job. We have to go get estimates on materials. Then we have to go pick those materials up, go drop those materials off. Then get a start date on actually doing the job, then do the job. Then you got to clean up the job, haul everything off, as far as, you know, trash and things like that that you don't use or you tear out. So our hours are very much,
All over the place.
yeah, we can't just say, well, we'll be there at, you know, such and such time to work this yard. Most oftentimes, whenever it comes to working our bees, and Lord willing, we can get back up to the 16 and 18, you know, area again this year. But it's most oftentimes it's we have to take our Saturday, go out there, do whatever we're going to do in them, check on everybody, make sure we ain't dealing with beetles and everybody's good and fixed up and we're not getting honey bound and all that. So we only really have one day through the week to do that. Or if we really want to put ourselves in a rush, is we have about 3.5 hours after we get out of church.
Yeah.
And we're not much on having that heavy pressure on us to get out there and work and check the bees. We like to just take our time, go through them, enjoy them, see what's going on. Then, you know, we'll make a mental note, or if it's something we really need to write down on paper, we'll jot down on paper something, whatever needs to be done. But
We're horrible note takers.
yeah,
I need to get that mentality from Sarah because she is always making notes, but she uses her notes too.
okay. Kimberly says
yeah.
she
My problem with notes is my hands get too sticky in the hives.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for a phone or for a notepad or a pencil,
Mhm.
it's gonna be a problem. It's just a problem.
Yeah.
If Sarah
And
says I take notes and then I lose them,
oh no.
my problem is I wouldn't make them out the yard. I'll be paper stuck to my hands. You know, I can't do nothing. I got to change gloves.
Mm, That's it. I battle like just my fingers sticking together so much on my gloves. Like y'all hear grunting on the video, and that's just me trying to pull my fingers off of something. So
That's
much
from all the propolis.
gloves.
Yeah, Lord, yeah. They built some propolis around here now.
I got some propolis on mine. I need to start scraping again.
We got another
Like I
jar
said,
of people going in there, but I don't know what we're gonna do with it. We got plenty for us.
Yeah, considering I can't take it.
Yeah,
what
Hannah
you do,
tried.
you buy those spray bottles like Bob uses for the swarm lure. Filter it out, put it into those. Spray it in the back of your throat. You know.
There we go.
I'm not trying that. That hurt way too bad.
Yeah, she tried the eyedropper and putting it in her coffee, or or just tried taking it, but that
Yeah.
daggum hernia, it did not sit well with her.
I couldn't handle it. And I was so upset because I was really counting on that working. But it'll be okay.
Sarah, since I'm getting better about it, but I'd lose my head if it weren't attached.
Dude, I know that feeling.
That's true too. I mean, I'll sit there like today. I was sitting there going through a list of stuff, looking at the yard while I was waiting for my wax to finish melting, so I can go and put it on my foundations.
Mhm.
And because I had done part of them already, I was finishing waxing the foundations and putting them all together. Go out the yard with them. So I'm sitting there, and my girls are flying around smelling the hot wax coming up, and smelling it. And I'm sitting, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this or that. When you get out there in the yard, the list you just made, you might forget half of it, or you'll be going through something and something sidetracked, and you won't even think about it.
Mhm.
You know, you do most of it, but you won't do all of it. You know, I was trying to find some nurse bees for that one split that I did in some more brood. I had to take it out of another hive. You know, because nurse bees aren't going to fight each other, and the brood ain't going to know any better when it's the hatches. You know, so
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing,
yeah.
getting sidetracked. It don't take much for my mind to mosey on into somewhere else.
I ain't touching that.
Still
Yeah,
decent.
DC is talking about taking notes. His videos are for notes,
Mhm.
and I guess like that could be part of it too when I do this video too. Uh, and when I do all this stuff, I can go back and look at that once after I post it and review it. Give myself some view time too. uh,
Multitasking.
look at my notes. Go back to it. Oh, what was that I did over there? Look at the video again. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, DC kind of got it going on that end, far as I'll speak for us that when we do a video, we'll do a video and it's showing y'all what we're doing out there and a little bit of our life, that kind of thing. But DC's documenting almost every single day,
Mhm.
and he can actually go back and say, okay, this time last year, this was what was going on. Let me compare that to what's going on this year. And maybe I can figure out why I'm having such a good year or why I'm having such a bad year.
Well, he's in
Well,
uncharted territory right now. It's all new video for him.
yeah, because like with us, we don't have any video in the bank that I know of. Usually, whenever we do a video, within a day or
Post
two,
it.
yeah, we it's posted out there for folks to see. We don't have anything stuck back noteworthy, I guess. We've got a few little, I guess, a me and her just kind of carrying on,
Mhm.
if you will, but a lot of it is it's not anything that we're gonna put on. Most of it's just me talking some nonsense to her about big feet or little green Martians and things like that. But
That's an interesting concept. Videoing all the bloom starts that are around,
Mhm.
so that you can actually compare when to what time each year you see them. How
Mm.
if you're ahead or if you're behind, like the year before.
mm, okay.
Oh,
But it makes good sense.
I mean, you see that, but then that goes into like he has a lot of time on his hands too. He has the availability. Like a lot of us probably here have work that we do during the day, and the only time I have to work on my bees is in the weekend. I walk through and I look at them during the week after I get home, and if there's an emergency, like if I see a swarm taking off, well, grab the equipment, let's go. You know,
See, we in the same boat with you there, Ziggy. We download it. Ain't no editing, anything like that. It's just what you see is what you get from us.
yeah, I do.
And,
Yeah, I do raw posts too. Even though I've been put because I've been having, for some reason my phone won't videotape consecutively anymore. It stops at like 22 minutes or something like that. But it stops and then goes to another video. Starts making a new video. So however long it takes for me to finish up, you know, is the next video, and I got to put them together on the phone now for some reason. But that's all the editing I do is I'm just putting those two pieces together and putting it out. I'm not. Everything is still raw.
I think a lot of mine too, just which I mean, y'all know, watching us and all that. I'm not the technology individual, so sitting down and I just don't have a big interest in much technology. So my problem is, have I tried to tinker around with editing? Yes, but by the time you pull this and clip that and put this together and try to add a little bit of music and make a professional looking video, if you will, I pretty well, I'm done with this. We're just going to record. If there's a part I need to trim out, then I figured out that much on it on my cell phone, and that's as far as it goes. But I'm gonna say 99% of the time, we don't even trim anything out. It's just we go through it, we'll put the video together, watch it, see how it comes out, then bam, it goes out into YouTube land.
Then let the chicken in for dinner.
Jack up there chasing her. I might have to, are we too loud in the wind? I might have to close that window.
No, I ain't worried about it. It's funny. Nice.
And Chuck, he loves to give him things fits. And I don't know, that's just part of his world too, I guess.
Yeah.
He don't
You
hurt
don't
him.
go after him. You don't go after him. He just goes and chases them, huh?
Yeah, that's all he does. Just watch them fly.
New watch this. I get him off the ground.
I'll holler at him. It don't work. He's got his eyes set on whichever one he's after at the moment. And once it goes up in the air, he's fine.
Yeah.
Y'all done got your butts in trouble, didn't you? Hannah said, yeah, they did. But
Yeah, DC doesn't like cell phones.
I don't know. They're a blessing and a curse, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've got two of them. One's for work and one's for myself. And I really don't talk a lot on them. I do, just have it available in case somebody does or needs me for some reason. Usually when someone does call me, it's usually aggravating. Yeah, that's what I found out. I remember growing up as a kid. Until they had answering machines, you call the house. If you didn't reach them, nobody knew that they had been bothered by someone trying to call them.
Mm-hmm. Now you can't get away from the things. Literally, if you take it with you, they know where you at, or they can get a hold of you.
And it's part of the downfall.
I mean, I remember I was telling Hannah this not long ago, 6-8 months ago. I said, I remember being a kid and the very first cordless phone we got. I thought it was something to be able to go from the front porch to the mailbox and be able to talk on the phone. Now you had to change the frequency on it to make sure, it wasn't all kind of crazy staticky, but just going, 300 feet away from the house and talking on the phone just blow your mind. Nowadays, you can drive 300 miles and still carry on the conversation with that same individual.
Really. And you don't have the ability to change the channel frequency. You lose them in the middle of the hill and say, well, I'll just give you a call later.
Yeah.
Sarah says she remembers her grandma's rotary phone. I remember us having rotary phones.
Oh, yes, sir. We had them.
You didn't even own it. You rented it from AT&T. You had to go to their shop after you got services, go to their shop, pick your phone out, and then they charge you rent on what you got.
I don't know if mom and daddy rented anything or not. No, mom and daddy, they wasn't much on renting. They buy. Whatever they had to have, they say, look, if I can't buy it, I don't need it. And which, like renting one, that may have been a little bit before my time kind of thing, but coming up in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah, in the 80s, I think they started being where you could, that's when the cordless phones came out and you could buy your own phones.
Lisa said, I remember party lines and rotary phones.
Yeah, my wife remembers party lines too. She's just a little bit older than I am. So you gotta be careful what you said on the phone because somebody be listening in.
You knew somebody was listening too.
Yeah.
Closest I ever come to living with a party line was when we got 2 phones in the house, and my brother sneak over and pick up the other receiver and listen in on everything he said.
And he go snitch to mom about it.
Lord, yes. Like, yep. Just remember what payback is. No, 2 now. He's done past that 40 mark.
21 twice.
coin operated TVs. I do sort of remember that. I just can't remember. Is it like truck stops or something?
That was a little before my time.
I remember seeing them in like bus stops in the airport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bus stops and airports too. Yeah, that's the other. I was trying to remember everywhere they were.
Who was it? One of the kids asked us the other day what a payphone was.
Mm.
I was like, y'all, I'm way too young for you to be making me feel this old.
Well,
They're
one of the ladies at
payphones.
church. Go ahead.
Go ahead too. I was gonna say payphones. Talk about payphones. I was talking with a friend when I was out in Texas. Talking about payphones. He ended up having to go out to pick his daughter up. She was getting out of jail, and right down the road from where she was at, they had the glass phone booth. It had a little Superman, had a Superman symbol on it though too. The little glass phone booth, but it was actually a functioning phone,
Wow.
payphone.
I didn't think there was any that still
Mhm.
work.
It probably costs you $6.25 now to use it.
Yeah, that's just get the operator,
Yeah.
and you'll be lucky if you get an American speaking operator.
I'd rather deal with a payphone operator than most of the machines you have to deal with for any number you call these days.
Well, then you get through all that, and it's insult to injury after you get through all that. You don't even get anybody speaking English, or very good English at that.
Yeah.
They don't
They
speak
try
it well.
in the car warranty during the process.
Yeah. And Shane's talking about coin operated jukeboxes. I remember eating breakfast at Walgreens at the counter, and they had the coin operated jukeboxes connected to the big jukebox. You pick your own songs right there at the table. That's probably dated me a good little bit too.
Hey, our little Waffle House up here still has a big old jukebox in there. But you can put a debit card in. You ain't got to
Yeah.
have quarters.
It's digital. Ain't no vinyl in it.
No. Mr.
I mean, I'm
Mike,
surprised they didn't go back to vinyl. Everybody else is going back to vinyl. Hey, James Noel made it to Texas.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't even talking about Lisa. I wasn't even talking about the mini jukeboxes just on the table. I was talking about eating at like Walgreens or Eckert's Drugs. They had the counter, the cafe counter. That's dating me. They hadn't had that for a long time.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't remember those, but I remember many a time when Mom and Daddy would go to that old VFW American Legion. And I probably wasn't 6 or 7 years old, but Daddy handed me a handful of change to go over there and tell him to get him a pack of Winstons out of that machine.
Oh yeah, I remember those two.
But I would have to like put my leg on that machine and pull that daggone bar.
To make it fall.
Yeah, to make
Actually,
them all fall.
Actually, that's how I started smoking.
Yeah. But I don't even know if they have anything anymore for folks in the. It's been so long since I've been in any one of them places, but
I doubt it. Very seriously.
I think I saw the last of those in 1986. I was in Ohio visiting my grandmother in Youngstown, Ohio, and they had a little. Well, I don't know if it was a Waffle House or Huddle House, a little place like that. Had it right in the breezeways that came into the restaurant. Yeah, Kimberly said she remembers cigarettes at 57 cents.
Yeah.
I remember them like 70 cents. Yeah, 70, 75 cents. I've been smoking a long time.
Sound like my football.
Mm. Well, I mean, a lot of folks started smoking, then, which, I mean, it was easy access to them by all means. Just tell them you're going to get a pack for, your mom or daddy. You could go in a filling station and snag you some as a preteen or teenager
Mhm.
until they
Well,
went to talking to your mom or daddy. Did you get them smokes? What you talking
Yeah.
about?
my mom would always send me with my dad when he went to 7-Eleven to get cigarettes. So they always saw me with my dad when he was buying Pall Malls, non-filters. And when I started getting me a little allowance, I snuck off to 7-Eleven myself and started buying some, thinking I was going to be the man. Yeah.
Did you see Mr. Mike?
Mm-mm.
He said the flow started today. I had a dance around the bee yard, but my back hurts and I can't dance.
Yeah, I can't dance.
Finally, Mr. Mike. I told
Yes,
him all
Galloway,
year.
I did. Yes, Galloway, I did roll my own cigarettes.
Where's Frank at? It's either on Sarah's or she screamed out too.
He might be over there. I don't know. I tried to pin it on ours to everybody come over here and chat on your channel.
Yeah, I've got you. I've got Sarah still got going too, her live,
Yeah.
and so we got 32 people in here. It's not bad gathering total. Galloway talking about he'd be tempted to grow the tobacco too.
Sorry, y'all. We didn't realize everybody was, or a lot of y'all was over on our side. But yeah, y'all jump over to Ed's and come and chat over there. Or well, Ed, you can read off ours. Can't
Yeah,
you?
I see what's going on. That's why I keep grabbing some of the comments that are coming in because Galloway's on yours.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean,
I think Keith Spillman was in ours too.
yeah, James Noel, several of y'all over here. Well, y'all, we apologize. We wasn't ignoring y'all.
No, but we flipped back over to Ed's channel. I thought first everybody was chat over here.
But hey, he can see them already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to quit. I've slowed down. I'm actually at 10 cigarettes a day now.
That's pretty good, Ed.
It's driving me nuts, so I get stressed easy.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mike. He said I was over there talking to you guys and nobody's there. You gonna have to call that man.
Or not once I give you a holler when you get home. I'll be calling you, Mr. Mike.
I was talking to myself. I do that a lot, Mr. Mike.
Well, even when I'm talking to somebody, I'm still talking to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll agree and disagree with myself. You're wrong about that. But let me tell you what, you was right.
You shouldn't say that.
No, no, the bad when it gets really bad, he has a fist fight with himself. That's when you have a problem.
Hey,
I'm gonna be really worried the day that happens.
let me tell y'all a story. Not long ago, one of them possums every evening was having him a grand old time, as Minnesota Mike would say, in our chicken pen, getting our chicken. So our porch, we have the porch, we have 5 steps that come down, then there's a landing, and you have to make a left and go down another set of steps before you get to the ground. So the first set of steps coming out of the house, I had posted up or leaned on a 4x4 that I have for our hand railing. And I was sitting there with my, I'll say my pew and a Q beam. And I was telling Hannah, I said, I'm going to stay up tonight and that joker's going to get it tonight. Well,
I forgot all about
y'all, from the top step down to the ground is probably about 5.5, 6 feet off the ground. And I was leaned up on that thing. And come about 11 o'clock, I felt my eyes getting heavy, but I'd shake it off. I was like, all right, you got to stay awake, got to stay awake. I'd shine that Q beam out through there, never did see the possum. Well, before I knew it, I done dozed off good, and I caught myself, and I woke up. Well, Hannah had come outside basically to tell me to give up the fight. You know, tomorrow's a new day. You'll get it tomorrow, maybe. Well, she's out there talking to me, and I fell asleep. And this time I fell asleep hard. Well, before I knew it, I woke up on the ground.
He just rolled right off that top step.
Yeah.
He scared me to death.
She said, I thought you had a heart attack and died. I fell straight back, and how I did not cut myself to pieces, this is just the good Lord looking out for my crazy self. But I fell directly on a terracotta pot.
Flower pot.
Yeah, flower pot there. And I shredded that joker to pieces, and there was a piece of that stuff sticking up everywhere. Well, when I came to on the ground, it felt like somebody had knocked me out. Because I was dazed and confused, thinking, what in the world just happened? Is she standing over me, you know, kind of in a bit of a hysterical moment. But I looked at her and I was like, what in the world just happened? She said, you just rolled off back first onto the ground. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that one no more.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I didn't get the possum. Now y'all see why I feel like I'm talking to myself a lot. Because he was just a steady, while I'm talking to him. The next thing I know, he's rolling off the porch. It's like, yeah, you're listening to what I'm saying.
My wife's caught me sleeping and I'm talking to her, answering her. She's, for some reason, it seems like I'm hearing her, but I don't realize I'm answering her. And she says, "You're asleep, aren't you?" No.
Mm-mm.
No.
And I'm dead asleep. She says, "You're snoring, even talking and snoring." I'm like, "No, I am not asleep. I hear everything you're saying." Yeah. Yeah. Sure enough, I'll be sleeping.
I've had those a few times where Hannah will walk outside, let the dogs out, and it takes every bit of not even 5 minutes for the dogs to go out. And she'll tell me, look, don't doze off. You need to get up and get in bed. And I'm like, I'm not going to go to sleep.
I'm wide awake.
Shoot.
He's snoring when I come back in.
Yeah.
Wake him up. I'm not sleeping. I wasn't asleep.
No.
Yeah. Try again.
I was sitting here listening to the radio.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what he'll tell me. I'm watching this video. Oh yeah, what just happened in that video?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, that's his line. I don't want to talk about it. Watch it for yourself. I'm like, yeah. You so full of poop. Your eyes are brown.
My wife says I'm so full of poop, my eyes bypassed brown and went to blue.
I had a about, what mama say, 5, 6 years old, and they changed the brown.
Oh no.
Tighten up if you can. Well, Ed, are you gonna try to? Excuse me, Jasper.
Yeah, by all means, but
Are you gonna try to order you a little bit more equipment, or you just gonna hold off on
I
what you got? And,
I feel I'm gonna have to buy some more deeps because I have a few shallow medium frames in the big boxes right now. But yeah, I'm gonna have to order some at least deep frames. I'm end up building boxes because I mean even you know the averaged out is that I ordered 80 frames, 40 deeps, 40 shallows, and foundations for all of it, and it all boiled down to $1.25 each, which is not a bad price. And then shipping was $60. So I'm I'm not upset about it, but it's a big expense at one time to buy just 80 frames. 'Cause
yeah.
I was looking to buy 100 frames from a supplier, and just the frames would have been $150, and that would be just one size of frame. If I wanted to order the deep, it'd be one size, and so that means 150 for the shallows, 150 for the deeps, mediums and deeps. So that'd be $300 just for frames. Then you gotta order the foundations, and they sell them $100, 100 packs also, and I think they're almost $200. So you're talking about, I mean, it's a lot more to invest in. I mean, my equipment's starting to cost me more. So these girls got to produce some honey this year for me to buy some more stuff for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they got to
gonna,
start taking care of themselves.
we got to take. We've got to go over to. It's more Hurley than Pascagoula, but run over there and see the bee guy over that way, and get some boxes and frames ourselves. And if it works out, I'll let you know when we go. If you need, we can pick you some up and save yourself on that shipping. And if you have to, we can meet you. We can meet you in Pensacola. Because I mean, by the time we get into Mobile, it ain't another 45 minutes to be to Pensacola.
What if when we go to meet Ricky in a month or so? What Ricky's fixing going right past where Ed's at?
Mm,
No.
nah, it would be running straight up 65 instead of being over there on the other side.
Oh, you're gonna run up higher and hit 70 and run over or something, aren't you?
Yeah, well, we're going to, if the Lord wills and we can run up that way and meet Ricky, we're just going to run straight up 65. Because if we took between 65 or Highway 43, it's only like a 3-minute difference. So it's just easier for us to take all interstate and not worry about going through the little hick towns and all that mess and worrying about the 50-50s pulling you over because you do 2 miles an hour over the speed limit.
I don't think anybody knows. That joke.
The law.
Drive through Hickagula, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank.
Law. What'd you say, Frank?
Hey, Ed, you got to get yourself a sawmill and start cutting your own trees. That's what I've been doing.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
that back in there.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that still costs the money, man.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah, I thought about getting a chainsaw. I have a chainsaw, buy a bigger bar for it, and buy one of them rails that go on top of a log and be able to cut planks out.
That's how I got started. I made one of those because I was too cheap to even do that. So I made the rails and the attachment to the, like you said, buy the next size blade, the 20-inch, and bought a bigger saw and started trying cutting it. And after cutting 1 or 2 boards a day, I was like, there's no way I'm doing this.
Well, owning, like what Jeremy just said, it'd work out if you owned your own property too. Then you cut your own trees down, then go out and plank it,
Yep. Yeah, I have a relative that was telling me that you actually can get some of these trees for free from these loggers. Some of the people that do the yard work and stuff. So I haven't looked into it, but he does the firewood business, and so he gets these logs. Sometimes he pays, sometimes he gets them for free. So I'm like, wow. But I just watch my neighbors and see somebody's cutting something down and say, hey, you got a tree? Can I snack it?
Yeah, then you gotta get a trailer, a flatbed trailer to put that stuff on, to bring it back to the house. Then you gotta put you like a cherry picker or something in a tree to get the thing out of the trailer. I mean, so it gets that's another hobby in itself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a hitch on the front of my truck, and so I can put a coffin trailer that I turned an old, actually 2 trailers. I turned into a coffin trailer with a hitch on it, and I just back it over top of the log and lift it up and drag it onto because my wife won't let me spend $50,000 for a tractor. So
there's that too.
Well, I'm just thinking.
Man, I'm telling you, if I hit the lottery, I'm getting me some property and I'm gonna build me a doggone honey house. Try to work on some sort of big yard out there and maybe even supplies, beekeeping supplies. So I can just take it off the shelf then because it's mine. Sell the rest of it.
Well, I'll tell you, it takes a lot of time. The weather is cold and miserable in the winter because I've been doing it all winter, fighting it, trying to get myself motivated to get out there and do it. And then it rains and then it's miserable. Then the summer comes and it's hot and it's miserable.
Yeah. You only got a few months between the winter and the summer on both sides of it. You can actually do something.
And then you got to get in your hives for those months.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's free to dream.
That's it. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's free to dream, Sarah. Yes, it's true. So, I'm not counting on it. I'll buy a ticket every now and again when it gets up to like, the hundreds of millions, whatever it is. Rodney Middleton's hitting a sore spot.
Oh no. I wasn't gonna say that.
He's hitting a sore spot. I was extracting in the tent last year and a windstorm came by and just took me out 60 gallons worth of honey.
Took the tent too?
The tent too, the camera.
Everything.
I had to rebuild the extractor. I had to buy a new motor and switch for it. It's 60
You're
pounds of
almost
honey.
like these guys out in the city where they live on the street people. A tent beekeeper. I love it.
Well, I figured, it was a screen. You know how you have those big old screen porches in the backyard with a tent? Well, I figured, I set it out there in the yard, set some pallets down with wood on top of it, bolt everything down, and then just worked it out there. Just come in through the screen with the stuff after I collected the hive, right back out to the bees would go. Well, it didn't work that way.
I've not had any success with those pop-up canopies. They're like 50, 60 bucks. Some of them are 100. You put them up and you forget one day. You're, oh, I'm going to leave it overnight. It's no problem. And it pours rain. The thing collapses and you lost 100 bucks, 50 bucks if it's Harbor Freights or something. And
yeah, that tent was $150, not counting the money. So I lost $600 worth of honey in the and had to pay about $8 to get everything rebuilt.
Mhm.
the garage.
So that was a learning experience, and it's all live on video. It's all on YouTube. That's why I say I put all my raw video out. I think the title of that video was how to lose 60 pounds of honey and an extractor in one swell swoop. Was
Yeah.
the title.
I use my canopy so I can beekeep in the rain. It works pretty nice.
Yeah, well, see, the thing was, it had rained hard earlier that day, right? I said, well, usually when it rains real hard in the morning or whatever, or during the day, it'll rain. I heard the thunder in the background behind me. My wife kept saying, and this would adds insult to injury too, as my wife says, there's a storm coming. I hear the thunder. It shouldn't be that bad. It shouldn't be that. You need to get in here and stop doing that and come in. And I'm like, I'm under this. I'm fine, right? Well, it started coming down rain. It started getting harder. And when the rain was coming out so hard, all the little holes in the screen got filled with water. So now it's a wall. There's no airflow. And when the wind come whipping in, it just grabbed that thing and just flipped it over, flipped me over, the camera, everything. So,
I used one of them to put in an air conditioner in for a guy, and it started to sprinkle, and so I got the canopy out. I'm like, I'll beat this. That's what I bought it for. I'm gonna keep doing my install. Before long, it started downpouring. I took a picture for my wife to see, and then I started having to build like bridges to get everything because I was in this middle of this lake. Apparently, this is the lowest spot in the whole yard, and I'm in a moat. I'm standing on top of pallets trying to stay dry. I'm like, this is a joke. Just to install this air conditioner. What a day. I should have just gone home.
Yeah. I'll be back tomorrow, man.
yeah.
Dude, you were driving me
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, see, Grammy says those straight line winds that day were tough because they hit her too. And they took
Yeah.
out some limbs. I think took limbs and stuff out in her yard. I don't remember exactly everything that happened, but then oh crap, trying to get rid of that. Double clicked it. Then Kimberly was saying, Schmidt was saying, they liked the idea because it gets hot in your garage. The only thing I'm gonna suggest to you guys, make sure it's not a rainstorm coming, or any kind of heavy winds in a storm that's gonna come. That's all I can suggest. I'm sure it would work if I wasn't an idiot and being out there that day, in the rain.
Yeah, I
That's-
found out if you ain't monitoring it, take it down because, like you said, the water starts to catch on the roof or something and it's built up like a big puddle and that thing collapses. Anytime you're not going to be there to make sure everything's fine, take it down, put it away.
The fiber rods that you connect, they're pieces. They got a rubber band in the middle, and you connect them. Both ends of those shattered on all 6 of the fiber rods. That's how hard the wind was, and knocked us all down. And snapped every one of them where they connected to the tent. The poles going down in the tent. It snapped every one of them. And I mean, granted, it wasn't but $150 for that thing, but still, one use and it was gone after that storm, because of that storm. And like you said, don't leave it out in the rain, because they will. Water's 8 pounds a gallon, so if
Everything's nice and tight, it works fine. But that one time something gives it starts to build up and build up and oh man.
It starts pulling where it's loose at, and then, yeah.
Well, they could have given input like, yeah, I can buy one now.
Like,
But we get enough material where a lot of times people say, well, just hold on to that extra 4x4, take it with you, or what have you. And I've got a stash saved up, but to build like a little,
that you've been supposed to build a shed with.
no, that's a different stash.
Yeah.
That's a different stash.
Yeah, that's a different stash. That's my shed.
Yeah.
But to build, say, like a little 16 by 16 lean-to, and just throw some screen or something around it.
Yeah, I would put the screen around it because I tried doing it under my carport, and I didn't have any screen up, and those doggone bees were in everything. And had they, you know, because it was away from them, but they still found it, you know. Because when you come back with the frames, you don't get all the bees off of those things. So you know you have a few bees that are sitting there eating the honey, and they'll go back to their hive with it. And next thing you know, their hive is coming there to pick up the honey. So
you have an
yeah.
audience.
Yeah. Sarah said an ounce of prevention equals a pound of cure, and I'll tell you also too. 2020 is hindsight.
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah.
There you go. I like Rodney's idea. Put it under the carport. Then they don't have to worry about and then screw it down to the concrete probably. But yeah, they're like a windstorm.
Well, the trailer, if that would have probably worked because the trailer would have broke the wind, most of the wind. So
You don't get like they have on their Epcot, the big round ball, and they have this wind tunnel underneath it when the wind comes.
Yeah.
Sometimes underneath is worse. Kind of the way it funnels from the buildings and stuff, the wind kind of compounds itself.
Well, it's like pushing water through a narrow tube. You know,
Yeah,
and maybe a lot of water on one side, it gets faster and it gets more pressure. Hey, Russell.
I wonder why DC doesn't use his camera and pop in here.
Yeah, I mentioned something about that earlier too. So
did he give you a good answer or was it a bad answer?
I don't remember what the answer was. It's been a while ago.
It needs an update, I guess, right?
Yeah, he's trying to figure out positioning on cameras and stuff. Yeah, I think he's going to do something different with it.
Well, I'll show you how I position mine.
Yeah.
It's on a toilet paper roll and a remote to the TV, and it sits right there.
And he dropped himself playing with it.
He said he doesn't want
to.
He doesn't want to, yeah. I think that was the excuse earlier.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, now dinner's going to be ready soon. Yeah, Galloway's a trip.
He didn't push the button.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He hit the wrong button.
He's a trip, man. He's messing stuff up. Trying to show
I
how
didn't
it's
know
set
Mr.
up.
Buttons. No, that was horrible. I didn't touch anything. I just turned it around.
Loose connection.
It's a cell phone. It's all one plastic blob. You can't even change the phone batteries anymore. It's all included. No memory sticks.
You can change your battery on them.
How do you do that? You got to unglue it?
No, I rebuilt this phone here. It shattered the screen on it, and the chassis it's inside. Once you take the frame off the back of it, it'll pop away from the thing. it's got a chassis, the screen, the touchpad, all of it's in one piece. You just move the incidentals like your earpiece, your vibrator, your that's a wrong. Oh man, don't take it that way. I knew it came out wrong when I said it. When it rings, it has the vibration. This little device that does that. The speakers on them, the cameras will all swap over, and you take those little pins off of it and move it over. Well, the new chassis doesn't have the battery in it. So what you do is you have this little thing. It looks like a giant spatula. These here just these little. It looks like a guitar pick. You separate the plastic off the back, and then a pair of tweezers. You disconnect the little ribbons, and then the thing looks like a little spatula. You get it up under the battery, and you just wobble it back and forth. They're not real firm. If you're too hard with them, you'll destroy the battery. It's like a lithium cake, is what it is.
You didn't have to do the heat thing like they used to do?
No.
You used to have to heat the whole thing up evenly and try and break the adhesive and.
No, you don't want to put heat on that battery, that lithium battery. You'll make it catch fire if you do. So, but it's what it is. It's all like little adhesive stuff. All you gotta do is just pry it up, replace the adhesive on the back of the new one, stick the battery on there, and go. But you can order a battery and do the same thing and remove it. All that, the whole back plate will pop off from the screen. All the way around the screen, it'll separate.
Yeah, I used to do that with the Galaxy S5, but in the 4 and the 3, but I have not done the 22. I haven't watched any videos on it yet either.
It's not hard. Because you take it to a shop, someone put a new screen on it. You're paying $150, $200 to put a screen on it. This is a Galaxy S12, and if you take it anywhere, you're paying $150, $200 for them to do it. Where on Amazon, I can buy it for like $23, and with all the tools to do it.
Are you serious?
Now I made a mistake with my daughter's phone. We did it, and we must have gotten a generic screen, and we went to put it back on. It doesn't quite line up. There's like the electronics was a little thicker than it's supposed to be, so it doesn't sit quite right. I guess that's why the price was so cheap, but it works. It's just that it doesn't seal. It doesn't sit right.
Sound like we in a
All I know is I got lost after the word phone.
Oh, I'm broken up.
Oh, you're breaking up? Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, I did
I
my daughter's
understand.
phone like that, and when we bought the screen, apparently it was a generic screen, and when it went to sit down, the electronics was a little fatter in some spots, and it wouldn't sit right. So I guess that we found out why it was so cheap.
Yeah.
It'd be about just as cheap. Well, I don't know. Some people pay thousands of dollars for them new cell phones, so I guess $100 or so would be worth it. You paying $1,000 for a phone.
And I'm paying for mine every month.
Yeah, with the Galaxy 20s, they're like $600, $700 to buy a brand new phone.
Yep.
Mhm.
So if you could take a little time to learn how to just take the time to rebuild it, I mean, it doesn't take a lot. It took me about 25, 30 minutes, take it apart, put it back together. Mike says, get a hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I got a new phone is my Verizon dropped me one day, and they wouldn't tell me why, and then eventually I found out through the grapevine it's just because they made my phone obsolete, and they wouldn't deal with me anymore, so I dropped them too, so I went to somebody else.
Well, I spend $100 a month. That's for 3 phones, 3 family phones, and when I first got started, it cost a little bit, but it's $100 a month for 3 phones for full unlimited service. And if one of these phones goes bad, I can buy an AT&T phone or a Cricket phone and put my SIM card in it, and it'll work. So
Yeah.
I can find one for like I could buy a $150 phone, which would be a Samsung 14, and put the SIM card and stuff in it, and just keep right on rolling.
I like that.
Yeah. And then if I
Hate
can't pay
being
the
tied
bill
in.
one time,
Yeah.
well, if I can't pay the bill, well, they shut you off, yeah. But I can go back and pay $10 more to get it turned back on, and I'm fine. You know, if I'm
Yeah, when
late
you
on a
leave
payment or something.
when you leave Verizon, all your data and everything, phone numbers, anything that you had with them is all gone. Emails,
Huh.
anything you have with them is gone.
Huh. Well, some respects that's actually nice. If you think about that. At least they're not selling it to somebody else. They're wiping it.
Well, I don't know that I would fully believe that. I don't think it ever really disappears. I think you just lose access.
Yeah, that's that. Once something hits the internet, it ain't going anywhere anymore. It gets passed around.
Yeah.
Especially Ed's video of the honey house falling down.
That's what we had in the Galaxy.
And DC's talking about he can buy a computer for 1200 ish. I can't build one for less than $3,000 to build a decent computer. And that's using low end equipment. You know, because nowadays you have to have multiple video cards for the GPUs, a decent processor, DIMMs,
All right, Lee.
all that. Well, all right, Lee. What did Lee say?
Stuff says, now you're speaking Lee's language now.
Oh, you're calling me Lee. Okay, I started
Yeah.
looking in the messages saying, what did Lee say?
No, Lee was trying to explain something to us the other night before going on to Ricky's live. He was trying to download this and us send that, and he was talking. It was 3 letters in
He
this.
was just talking file types, but he
Oh.
had lost him completely.
I just told him, I said, call Hannah on her phone. Buddy, I appreciate you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
I told him, you should have seen the smoke coming out of Tim's ears, his brain trying to process what you're telling him.
Well, see, I worked 10 years for Dell Computers, building laptops, servers, regular work PCs, and gaming units. That's all I did for 10 years. And
Wow.
Well, I should ask you then, what's a server? I always wondered what a server is. Isn't it just like a computer, just told to
it's
do differently?
it's basically a computer. What they do is they take multiple hard drives, and there's 2 ways they set it up. One way it's called striping, where part of your information is spread out. Let's say if you had 16 hard drives on it, all right, and they're all terabyte a piece. That's 16 terabytes. Your basic information you put on there is spread across all 16 hard drives, but it's broke up. That's called striping. Now, I don't suggest it, because if you have a computer crash, then you lose pertinent information that way. Now, if you mirror it, every hard drive has the same thing on it. One of them hard drives crash, you can pull it out, put a new one in, and reset it, have it reformat, and go back to have all the same information on it. Now striping, the best way to do it, if you had it that way, is you have backups or regular backups done, where all that information goes to one source. Whether it used to be tape drives, now it's cloud. It's stored on the cloud. So if your hard drives die, replace all of them, download from that cloud storage, and it'll rebuild your computer. And I see the smoke coming out Tim's ears. He's just shaking his head.
I'm out of this one, y'all.
But
He's a
that, but that's,
good guy.
you know, and
And then you're
the
just
thing
letting
is,
certain people have access to that computer's data, I guess, is the idea. And then it becomes a server.
well, you can set up a program on it. It's a Windows program that server. It's called server, and you have like say I sit here, I see all the traffic coming and going. When I set it up, you have 10 people on your job. Well, you have admin access. I have admin access to make changes. Everybody else is restricted to what they can access or how they are. Like, one department for financial has access to certain files that another department does not. So you set those permissions up so when they log in, that's all they can they can access is those files. And then, or like if you go, you say you go and fire somebody, you as an admin can go in, delete all that information out of their contact, not contact information, their access information, so they have no way to get back into the network. And that way, and I see that on my end because I'm an admin, I'm able to monitor it. And that's how that works. And it's basically a regular computer, but it's
So
got
it's like a
specific programs.
moderator on YouTube. People can do a small amount on your channel, but
The same principle, Tim. Yeah, you have full control. You have full control, but they, as someone having a wrench beside their name, could either block somebody or delete them for keep them out for several hours, or you as the owner of the channel could get rid of them and not allow them back in, ban them off the channel permanently. Well, unless they come back in as a different name. But the same principle.
I got a basic understanding of what you're saying. I promise I'm not
Yeah.
going to ask any more questions on that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
used
so
to do AC jobs for some people. They have their whole garage and bedrooms, all of these old computers all running with fans and all kinds of stuff. And they'd have cables, Cat5 cables running all throughout the house. And I was like, what the heck's going on here? Like, oh, we have our servers here. I was like, what the frick? So they have like 100 zillion phone numbers all going. I'm like, what?
you can like they, I don't know how old those were, but the earlier systems had what they call RAID systems, which you had they produce a lot of heat. The newer system is still a RAID system, but it's done differently. It's more integrated than it used to be. They have blades, what they call blades. You can have 10, 16 hard drives in a little blade, which is like because they can run the laptop hard drives instead of the big ones. You can have like each hard drive be six terabytes or whatever, and you have 16 of them. That's a lot. That's a lot of storage. I've been talking about getting a blade to put in my house, use it for a regular computer.
So it looks like a hard drive, the blade does?
Well, the hard drive, the blade, if you ever seen a server rack, and it's usually got you see the front of it is probably 16, 18 inches wide, at most 24, depending on the size of the rack. And they're fairly thick. Well, blade is like 6 inches thick.
Okay.
And that's why they call it a blade, because it's real thin. And they run the I think we've lost some people in the chat since we've been talking computers, and Tim's about to fall asleep over there.
I'm commenting to Ziggy's comment on the Nintendo. I was going to tell him that Mario Kart is a competitive sport around here. Now I do know that much.
Yeah. And I've got a PlayStation 4 I ain't touched in 2 years. Since I've been messing with the bees. I ain't had time to even play anything. I started watching a show on TV called Fallout. That's actually a video game. This TV show's made after that, and pretty interesting. But I don't know if I ever really got time. What was that?
Nobody's figured out how to play those stations and those different consoles on your computer, and so you don't have to have all these different systems.
Oh yeah, they've got it's a thumb drive you can stick to your computer. They got 1,600 games in it, and all they gotta do is you plug in your controller like you have on the PlayStation or Wii or whatever, and you can play it on your computer or straight on the TV. And a little
And
thumb
I know
drive.
my kids got into those Xboxes. It's like I bought one years ago, and they're like, "Oh, that's so old, Dad. We can't use that. We have to buy this one." And now they got a third one. I'm like, "How many? Every year it's like another one of these? What? What?"
Mario Kart with a question mark.
Yeah, I've been happy with the PlayStation 4. Now the new ones, PlayStation 5s. I mean, I like the way they look, but for what you're getting, you're not getting much more. You could do the same thing on the 4. You know, maybe the graphics would be different. Jeremy saying the PCs are worse. Yeah, it's like every few years. Well, Moore's law. Every so many years, information doubles. And now, like on phones and video games, video cards, those things, it's like every 2 years they jump.
Yeah, I got my Galaxy S22, and it had like 3 times the storage space as my S5. And I thought, oh, that's plenty. I don't need the big fancy one that's got like more. That's 3 times as much. I'm fine. I got it one day, and the thing was full. And I'm like, for what? A couple of videos and bees. I'm like, so then I found out that every picture is not a picture, it's a little video. And so it's like using hundreds of times more data for one picture than the other phone was, and other people can't watch them because they don't have capabilities of watching my pictures that are videos.
Yeah.
And I put them on my computer, and I can't open them up because it has some thing that I don't have this. I have to pay for another thing to open them on my computer.
Is it the video or just the pictures?
The videos is I was doing TikTok, and you take videos from a TikTok, try and put them on your computer. They don't work. You can only watch them on your phone. So then what I would do is I put them in an editor, edit them, change them to something else, and then I could watch them on my computer. Because I'd store them as a backup, but then I wouldn't open them. I can't open them. So what's the point of a backup if you can't watch them? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just trying to make everything proprietary anymore.
And then I just got kicked off a couple of days off of TikTok for no reason. It just said violation of our something things, and you've been voided. So it was either that train video I did, or it was looking at the sun when they did the eclipse. I don't know, or something else. I don't know. Maybe I got hacked. But all of a sudden, it was all gone. It says it's deleted. Good luck. Bye. And I'm like, what? So I'm no longer on TikTok. Like, forget you.
Well, they're trying to stop TikTok in this country anyway. You know, some states are even trying to ban any people from being able to use it. I don't see how they're going to be able to do that when it comes from another country, but you know.
Well, China bans a lot of stuff for their people. Their people can't do much of anything.
Well, that's true too, but see, TikTok is out of China, so.
Yeah, I still wonder if they're just a lot of this Wi-Fi fancy. Hey Google, do this stuff. All these chips. I wonder if they're just data collections for their, whatever.
Well, think about this: if they're running an AI program or a simulation of how people do things, why not get goofy gestures to get people to do certain things? So they just collect that information, keep collecting that information, and it's ridiculous. I I'm sure they collect information off of this too. They know how we think.
Well, I mean, they do
Yeah.
because you can't do anything without them having access to your voice, or you can't have access without getting to your pictures and your videos
Yeah.
and all that. And I mean, the only social media we've ever had was or have is the Book of Faces, and oftentimes we don't hardly get on it much. And the YouTube is, I guess, my biggest thing because I can pick what I want to watch on YouTube versus turning on the local TV and you only get so much of the nonsense that's on there nowadays. At least with YouTube, I can rummage through and at least pick what documentary I want to watch or, beekeeping videos I want to watch. Am I a big fan of pushing that allow button? No. But the thing that burned me with the Book of Faces was all I'd done is shared a thing about Sam Elliott, and he was talking about the history of our country, and he had some American flags in the background. And by golly, I love my country, and I'm grateful for the people that has fought for our freedoms and things like that. But whenever you tell me that I shared something that doesn't fit the agenda, basically, for a man talking about our great country and our flag, then no, you lost me on that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So you can have your social media platform and everything that goes along with it.
Someone has asked a question here. It says, and that's totally different than what we were just talking about. Is
You mean it's
do you
bee
think it's
related?
good? Yeah, it's bee related. Do you think it's a good idea to have a swarm trap or an empty hive on the same stand with bees? I don't think it doesn't matter. If a swarm comes in, they're going to take an empty box, even if wherever it's sitting in your yard.
We do. So yes,
Yeah.
sir, absolutely.
Yeah. Dre was saying Iran has attacked Israel. That's why I don't watch much news anymore either because of all
Well,
the
you get it
crap.
even on YouTube. You get some of this stuff, and then you're like, "What? What's going on? What?"
Who was that to put that comment up, Ed? I couldn't. It was too small to
Uh,
read on my end.
on which one? About the bee trap or
The swarm trap.
attacking Iran? Yeah, that was Morris Homestead.
Oh, yeah, brother, absolutely. Put you one right there. If you got an open spot you're not using yet, stick you one there because you never know. They may meander right on over next door to it, and like I said,
Some of your girls may investigate it and move right to it.
yeah, shoot you.
I once in a while get the ones that on the bottom of my screen bottom boards, and I'm like, "Is that another hive, or is that just a?" And I start, "Is there a queen in here? What?"
Yeah, I've seen some of them hang off the bottom, and it does look like a swarm on the bottom of a hive.
Like,
You
why don't
know,
you just go in the entrance and hang out? Why are you on the bottom?
yeah, they're just trying to cool off.
Yeah, it's too hot in there.
The club's too loud. They want to get outside and get some fresh air. Because you open the lid of the hive and you.
Oh, ours
Okay,
will
yeah,
go
party in here.
come summertime. Well, about June, ours will really start bearding because we'll be in mid 80s on into the 90s with 100% humidity all the way until mercy. Probably about the end of October, we'll kind of start backing out of that humidity a little bit, but yeah, it'll look like a swarm, but it won't be nothing but then just bearding on the front in the evening time.
And they're gonna
Yeah.
start boxing those hive beetles and selling them, right?
Well, we on the road to recovery, I believe, with the hive beetles, with the peppermint oil. I mean, peppermint extract and that eucalyptus mix.
So you
Yeah, I was
dribbling
trying-
them down the corners, the extract?
We're running it on both sides of the frame rest, all the way across from one end to the other on both sides. And man, that has been a huge help for us. And we'll know tomorrow too once we get in there to see how well it is. We've seen a few hive beetles since this season has started, but we absolutely ain't had the worry as we've had the last 4 years. Well, 3.5 years, because we really started pushing that peppermint extract and eucalyptus mid-year last year.
Yeah, I gave up on all that treatment for the peppermint last year. I didn't do anything, didn't do but one oxalic acid treatment on like 4 hive or 5 hives, just because people were talking about my zombie bees, and I said, oh, let's just try it on 5, and 5 out of 16 I did some oxalic, but other than that I haven't done anything, and I haven't seen a lot of hive beetles. Maybe I can count them on maybe 5 fingers sometimes, but that's about it. And the mites, never done really any checking, so I don't know, but I did lose 10 out of 16, so I think it's because I didn't feed them. I really think they starved.
Yeah,
I don't know. We must have an easy place for, not having to worry about that stuff.
no, Tim had we made fun of one of my videos. I was playing around. I cut the opening of one of the queen cells, and a worker backed out of it. He said I was trying to raise a specialty worker for small hive beetles to get them to run them out the hive. And I don't know how. I said I knew that the queen had hatched. Which I guess she went in to clean it up, and someone went and closed the back end of it up on the. So she was stuck in the queen cell. She was backing out.
That was that BSH.
BSH, yeah.
Backing
Beetle
out.
hives. Yeah, no, hive beetles, sensitive bees. Yeah. I thought it was funny when he said that.
I had some maggots in the winter on one of the frames because I had a used frame that didn't have much of it, just maybe some stores on it. But I had that right up against my pillow because I wanted to try and reduce their size because they're kind of small in the winter. So I reduced them with a pillow, but where it was right up against that frame because it had some foods and stuff in there, there were some worms. I don't know if they were hive beetle worms or beetle larvae, or the moth are usually a big long worm. They're real small ones. But anyway, what I did is I put another frame of undrawn just foundation next to it so the bees had space so they can get in there and take care of it, and then put my pillows, and then they could get in there and take all that out of there, and they did.
Yeah, the hive beetle stuff looks like maggots, right, Tim?
Yeah, that's about what it looked like, maggots.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can. Unfortunately, if it gets beyond this, then you're pretty well too late. But it can get confusing between the hive beetle larva and the wax moth larva, especially when the wax moth larva is smaller. But you'll know dealing with a hive beetle because you'll have that nasty sheen to it on your honey frame, on your brood area, and all that. And them hive beetles for us, man, it can go from you're not seeing any issues with it for a day or two, and you'll see beetles in there. Then if you give it 3, 4, 5 days, man, it'll just be total colony collapse in there. You'll pull them frames and they'll be slimed out. And once you see that slime look to it, you may as well just feed them to the chickens. Because I've tried soaking them things in 50-50 of bleach and water, and I've taken full bleach and dumped in a wheelbarrow. I put about 5-6 gallons of bleach in that wheelbarrow.
6 or something.
and just nothing but bleach, straight bleach. Threw them frames in there thinking maybe we can at least save the wax. And man, I'd saturate them, drown them frames, and them high beta larvae still just moseying on around like it ain't even bothering them.
What the heck?
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Cause we had lost. Oh, I don't know. We probably had about 30 frames I was trying to clean up.
I guess the freezer would be a way, right? Maybe freeze them and then do that.
That'd be your best way to do it. Freeze and kill them.
Oh,
But
man.
then once you get them out of the freezer, all that stuff thaws out and you still got the slime. Because all it is just them larvae defecating, creating that
So
slime.
that's their feces is the slime.
It's like a
Mhm.
yeasty buildup. And the bees don't like that at all.
Now, can you use that to make some good wine?
I don't know about that.
No, I don't even know if I'd give that to my enemy.
High beetle wine. Hey, they do it with the what's the one that the beetles we get? The spotted lantern beetle.
The moth.
Yeah, spotted lanternfly. We get them. They make honey out of that. Why not?
And actually, they're finding out that Manuka honey, its medicinal properties. They're saying that the honeydew has the same qualities to it. It's medicinal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we ain't got a lot of them, so we ain't gonna be making no money off of that.
Yeah.
Every time I make find one of them spotted lanternflies, I make a video because I'm excited. And then people think, "Oh, you should kill it." It's like, dude, I'm lucky if I can find one. Now, if you go to Pennsylvania, I remember walking out there. Everywhere you're walking, it's like carcasses everywhere. Them things. That was a different story. But around here, you're lucky if you find one.
I don't know if we got
Yeah.
any of the spotted lanterns. I know we got the little what do they call them, the aphids, and that creates the honeydew.
Yeah.
That's for the ants. I don't think bees do that, do they?
Oh, they'll pull off of it, like under our
Really?
oak tree.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Off an aphid?
Off the
Well,
honeydew.
the aphids drop the honeydew on the leaves in the oak tree, and they'll pull it off the leaves.
So you could be selling aphid honey. Aphid dew honey.
Honey.
It could be a market. Specialty aphid honey.
You can get a good little run off of it from. Now it's aggravating for us, like she's saying. If you park your ride up underneath a tree, you'll have little
It's a disaster.
dots, have clear little dots. I guess the best way to explain it is like a small amount of pine sap
Mm-hmm.
falling on your vehicle, but much easier to wash off for sure. But it's just more of a nuisance on your ride.
Yeah.
There was a guy, I don't remember where I saw it, was thinking about tapping into the maple trees and taking that syrup and feeding it to his bees. I thought that's an idea.
About that in a chat not long ago.
Y'all don't
Yeah,
waste
I
that
thought-
stuff. Send it to me.
I was thinking about doing that with the red maples here. Have it go into a bucket and the bees eat off of it. I may not be able to. It's a sugary sap. I don't know if we get cold enough for it, really.
Because I mark my sugar water with red dye if I have apis in it, and green dye if it's non-apis, and I can see where it's stored. And I'd be like, maple syrup, I'll make another color. And when it's stored, I was like, yeah, this is maple honey. We bottle that.
Yeah, be purple.
Purple, maple honey, there you go.
How long have you been beekeeping?
I want to say 4 or 5 years. It was before COVID, whenever that was.
I was wondering some of the questions you asked. I was like, I thought you'd been doing that a long time. You know, sometimes I'm like, I don't know.
It don't stick.
It don't stick. Put Velcro on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them shorts you do sometimes are pretty funny.
And I like to, I mean, hear people say stuff, but I like to see it. Like Fred Dunn's the one that got me going to videoing stuff. He says, put it on video and prove it. So that's my whole dream is just, take a video and actually have documentation rather than just reading out of a book. Kind of like,
Mhm.
I'm from Missouri, prove it.
Show me state.
Yeah, that's what the professors used to tell me. He says, yeah, you read that book. Oh, that's nice, but prove it. So then you have to go to science lab, get the electronics out there, put the resistors and capacitors there, and take the readings and say, yes, this is what the formula says, and yes, this is how it comes out. And so now we can believe it. And that's the way I kind of deal with beekeeping. It's like, all right, I hear it. Unless I see it, I don't believe it. And even if I see it, it's that one moment because it could change.
Well, and that is the whole thing about a lot of things that go on with beekeeping. You know, I think the only thing it is consistent is that not everything is consistent. You know, because what could happen, I could do something here because of the way something happens, and it may go textbook, and then you could do the same thing, and well, it's not happening that way. You have to make adjustments. You know, nothing is ever the same, and bees are going to do what the bees are going to do, and you know, even with pest control issues, you know, the same problem. You know, it depends on your area. It depends on what you have to deal with, environmental conditions. I mean, a lot of it's got a lot to do with all that stuff, and people just don't take an account for it. Yeah, like I said, the only thing consistent about beekeeping is nothing's consistent.
Yeah.
I got a call again this year. I got a couple last year, but I got another call from a landscaper nearby saying that I'm on the bee list, so I have to be notified when I put down the sprays and stuff because I'm within the 5 miles. And I'm like, all right. Every time he gives me one of these notices, I'm like, well, what the heck am I supposed to do with these bees anyway? What am I going to put them on a tent and say, don't go out today because there's poison? And it's like now I got 16 hives. It's like, all right, now this is even worse. 16 hives, I got to put tents on.
But
I don't get it.
Are they spraying for mosquitoes or what are they spraying for, Frank?
It's a golf course, so who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's their flowers. I don't.
Okay.
Maybe it's Roundup for all the weeds, and so the grass looks pretty. They don't really tell you. But this last one, he says, "Oh, we're spraying tomorrow, but it doesn't say it hurts bees, so you don't have to worry about it." I said, "Oh, good," because I haven't done anything with it every time you tell me anyway. Because what am I supposed to do? Because he says, "Well, it might be this time, it might be this time." So, and then there's a delay. So that's the next day. He's like, by the time I'm done, all these it could be a week, and I'm waiting for this thing to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
so your nerves are wrecked by the time you finally end. By the
don't
time
go out today. Yeah, what the heck? It's nice that I'm notified, but now I'll know if they all die. Yes, it's probably what happened. What good is that?
Yeah, really. Well, and then you can't do anything because they notified you about it. So they're responsible for killing all your bees, but you can't do anything because they called and said, "Hey, I'm putting the stuff out. What am I supposed to do about it? You know, what can I do about it?"
I don't know. It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean,
and the funny thing is, before I had bees, I didn't care. I'd do whatever I felt like. I had no idea it affected people.
How much the stuff actually affected people, much less bees.
Yeah. Some poor person, oh, my bees died. Thanks to this moron somewhere around here.
We ain't got a golf course close by. But we got plenty of farm fields, and thankfully, my buddy Lance has talked to. It's pretty much the same people that spray, or put the fertilizers down, whatever they're doing out in these crops. That they're good old country folks. Many of them have bees themselves, and whatever they are putting on the fields, we can trust whenever they say it. Look, what we're putting out here absolutely ain't going to harm your bees, and so on and so forth. And thankfully, whenever they do spray, and we've got a big field right across the road from us over here, that whenever they plant whatever they're going to plant throughout the year, and they do put, I'm going to say whatever it is they put out there, because I have no idea what it is, but we've never had any issue the day of them spraying or leading up or after them spraying. We've never had any kind of major loss of any colonies from the bees traveling back and forth and meandering around on the fields.
Now, I was sitting there thinking about, sometimes they'll pull the sprayer rig behind the tractor and they'll spray. But I've been seeing people near our area who do aerial spraying. Now, I'm wondering which was really worse. I would think aerial, because they're dropping it in the air, and airflow is going to carry it more than they would on the ground spraying it.
Yeah, I remember the days they used to do the Japanese caterpillars. They do the aerial sprays for like weeks. I can't imagine what are the beekeepers doing during those times. They tell you to stay inside, and school will be closed, and I'm like, wow.
Now they do the same over here, Ed. Whatever they doing is they pulling behind the tractor. Now, if you go over to the county across the bay from us over here, Baldwin County, now you'll see them old crop dusters flying all over the place over there, hitting them fields. But I don't know of anybody on this side of the bay in our county that does any kind of crop dusting. Everybody else just got an old tractor and they got the sprayers behind it, and when they're leaving, because you'll get behind them. There'll be a line of tractors and that fertilizer dump truck, and everybody moving on to the next field.
Mark says if they're going to spray, take the top off the hives, and all the old bees will stay with the hive to protect it. They won't fly off. I've never heard that, but that's interesting.
There you go, folks.
That's kind of what you do when you have bee inspections and you got robbing going on in the herd. You just take all the tops off and let them all beat each other up.
Well, this is if you take all the tops off, then everybody goes back to their own hive to defend it, and that'll stop the robbing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I did hear DC say something about that before. About that, as far as robbing.
Yeah. I've heard a couple people say it, but he says it the most, I think.
That's a good little side note for anybody that has to deal with like what Frank's talking about. If they do any kind of aerial spraying, or if they're going to.
But what you got to do is try it and tell us what happens, because I've never experienced it yet. Put it on YouTube.
Where's the scientific data?
Yeah.
Seriously, Ed.
Oh no.
I had to throw that out there.
I was waiting on it.
Well, yeah, we're fixing a mosey on Jasper, get wound up, get them fed and tucked in for the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm being paged too, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wind it up tonight.
I hear you, bud. We enjoyed it, man. Frank, it's good to see you.
did. Y'all have a good
And
rest
I
of
enjoy everybody coming in. I enjoy, hit that like button on the way out.
There you go.
So-
Y'all do
the
that,
weekend
man.
for you, Ed.
All right, y'all. Y'all
so-
take care.
So I'm gonna say it before I go. What I usually say is, God bless you and your bees. Be good, behave, and be hive. See y'all later.
All right.
Bye.